Hey everybody, and welcome to WCNC Charlotte's Off the Clock with Carboni podcast. I'm WCNC Sports Director Nick Carboni. You can catch me weeknights at 6 and 11 with all your local sports coverage, and make sure to tune in to Ashley Stroline this weekend with previews and post-race wrap-ups of the Daytona 500. Our guest this week will be racing then. It's Ryan Blaney. He's got a decent shot of winning the Super Bowl of racing. He's got 2 second-place finishes, including one last year, barely getting beat out by Denny Hamlin at the 500. Blaney's been a part of some really close races the last few years, with wins at Talladega and the Charlotte Roval coming to mind, and he was spun out late in that Busch clash earlier this week. The 26-year-old has made 4 straight playoffs and has 4 career wins and is going to get a lot more. So we talked about all of that and this Sunday's Daytona 500. Enjoy. Ryan, I've asked every NASCAR driver I've interviewed this question here in Charlotte. If you could take the number 12 Menards Ford Mustang on any road, highway, strip, any area in the Charlotte area, rip around, do whatever you want, where would you go?
I don't know. It's a good question. I'd take it on 485 or something. Pretty big open highway. You could let it loose. Yeah, I'd probably do that. The city is almost a little bit too rough for my race car. So
no road course action.
Yeah, the roads are a little bit too bumpy, and there might be some problems. But yeah, take it down 485. There's a big, you can probably run wide open for 10 or 15 miles. So that'd be good. Make that happen. Yeah.
What grade would you give Chase Elliott's mustache?
It's a solid stash. I mean, I'll give it to him. A pretty big handlebar he's got going. At first I was surprised he kept it, but he's the champion. He can kind of do whatever the heck he wants. I'll give it, it's a solid 9.
Okay.
Mine at my peak, I'd give obviously myself a 10. He's got to get a little bit more volume in that mustache, but I'd give it a 9. It looks good.
So when you start with the quote-unquote Super Bowl of racing, I mean, you start with the crown jewel event. I mean, it's not a championship, it's not the playoffs, but it's obviously so meaningful. I mean, how do you prepare for that to be the beginning of your season as an athlete and a competitor?
Yeah, it's just kind of has always been the way it is. You know, it's nothing different for us, right? So that's what is way different about our sport. One of the many things that's different about our sport than others, right? Obviously, our big race is the end of the year with the championship, if you're involved in that. Mm-hmm. But we do start with probably the biggest race of the year. And it gets you back in the swing of things pretty quick. I'll say that. You know, there's no messing around. You know, you have to be on your toes. And, you know, we've been really close to that thing a couple times and, you know, lost it by 2 feet last year. So that is something I'd hope to be on the other side of this year, but we'll see. But yeah, it's just, you have to be on your game. You know, you sit around for 3 months in the off season trying to prepare and get ready, get your cars ready, get yourself ready of, you know, taking on 500 miles around Daytona, pretty treacherous place. So you just hope all your prep work in the off season pays off right away, you know, and what better way to start off a year than the biggest win probably you're going to have of the year. So we'll see if we can make it happen.
Yeah, losing this thing so close, like you said, by just a few feet. I mean, how much extra motivation does that give you coming back here this year? Just thinking back on that.
Yeah, you know, we've run second in that race twice. We were in second in 2017, and then last year. And honestly, in 2018, we had the fastest car, and we got caught up in a wreck at the end of that race. So we've had, I'd say, 3 really good chances to win that race. And yeah, you know, you go back and watch the race at the end of the year, and how close, you know, we lost it. Yeah, it definitely makes you hungry to try to get it this year. You know, it's worse losing a race by 2 feet than 5 seconds. You know, that's going to matter what race it is. But yeah, I think we have the team to do it. It's just a matter of making it to the end of these things. That's a big part of the 500. If you're still in the race, you know, coming down to the last 5 laps, then you have a shot to win. You know, that's just what it is. Anyone does. So just a matter of putting yourself in that position. But yeah, we're really hungry and definitely want to try to, you know, make right what happened last year and losing it by that little.
You know, we've seen you've come out on top in a few of them, be involved in some of the craziest finishes we've had in the last few years. I mean, what is it like being in the car when there's chaos ahead, chaos behind, and you just have fractions of a second to seize the opportunity in that moment.
Yeah, that's the tough part about, speedway racing for sure. It goes with any other track too, whether it's a short track or a mile and a half. You have very little time to make a decision, but on the speedways, it's even less, just because things are happening so quick. You have a split second to make a kind of make or break move, right? And you don't really have time to think about the move you're going to make. You're just presented with it, and you hope you make the right one. We see people make wrong ones that they think is right at the time, but it just doesn't work, and it ends up being a wreck. So, that part's tough. The driver spotter communication thing is huge on the speedways. And you really just have to go with your gut and instinct. Like I said, sometimes it works out for you, sometimes it doesn't, but those moves, sometimes whether they're high risk or not, is what can win you the race. And it's, like you said, it's worked out for us a couple times at, a couple Talladega races, we won by a foot or two. And those moves, they matter, but you just don't have any time to think about them. It's kind of just an instinct reaction, and you hope you make the right one.
When you don't have practice and qualifying at the majority of these events, what did you learn about how to prepare for each track when you can't get on it during the week?
Yeah, that part was tough last year, with everything going on, and making it one-day shows. It just put a lot more prep work into going into the weekend, throughout the week, sitting down with your team, crew chief and drivers, talking how you're going to unload, because like you said, your first laps on track is the green flag, and you better have your stuff close. And so that goes back to prep work. I think more prep work goes into the cars now because of no practice than they ever have been, just because you don't have 2 or 3 practices to work on your stuff and get it close before the race. You better be pretty close start of the race. Otherwise, you have to make huge changes, and everyone's been on that side, right? Everyone's been on you're in left field at the start of the race, and you're working on the thing, throwing the kitchen sink at it throughout the whole race. Or you start off pretty close and you're just kind of tinkering on your stuff. But all that just goes to prep work throughout the week.
Last question. When you had time to reflect during this off season about just how wild, crazy peaks, valleys of the 2020 season for everybody, starting with Ryan's wreck, then the pause, then the restart, everything with Bubba, where do you think the sport ultimately came out of things heading into 2021?
Truthfully, I think NASCAR did a great job of handling everything and doing a great job on, I'm mainly talking about, the COVID situation when we had our break. They did a great, we were one of the first major sports back running, before football, before basketball. And they did a great job of making sure we could do these events, and we were all safe doing it, responsible. And we got all the races in. I think we were one of the only sports to get all of our scheduled events in, and that's a huge testament to not only NASCAR, but the tracks and the teams and the sponsors for doing what they're doing and being able to compromise in some spots. So I think they did a great job. And I think it was a big growing year for our sport as well. I think that's led to a lot of great opportunities with new people joining the sport, like Michael Jordan, like Pitbull being a part owner now, and new teams coming in. I think it's great for the sport. It's just growing, and more eyes are watching the sport, which is always a good thing.
All right, hope you enjoyed our chat with Blaney. Thanks to Team Penske, and NASCAR for making that happen. Again, Ashley Stroline will have your post-race coverage Sunday night. You can check it out on WCNC Charlotte.